Morning folks, welcome to Sapphire 2025. Going to be focusing on Enterprise Asset Management as the topic today. I'm going to run through a quick demo. Hopefully everything will work as expected. In terms of the focus today is really around how do you address the trends that we're increasingly seeing in the market, particularly around things such around data quality. Obviously data quality is key when you're looking at analysing information to do with your asset performance. The ability to support your team in the most efficient fashion again, so whether it's in field operations or in plants, so it's giving you the right tools and capability to operate the maintenance on the asset. And then support the processes in a really systematic way. So again, coming back to data quality, in order for your organisation to make the right decisions around the assets, is really to have the right data. And again, so we're trying to introduce the system that supports the ability for that. In terms of this morning's focus, really, we're going to look at the asset lifecycle, but particularly focus on the operate to execute area. So taking information from the field, highlighted here from smart assets, and integrating to SAP to generate notifications and ultimately work orders. Plan the work and dispatch to mobile field operations. So we're going to look at the ability of the system to plan the work on SAP and then dispatch that work to the mobile side of the business. And then lastly but not least is use mobile applications to support the work management execution. So really first part of focus this morning is really harnessing the information that comes from field operations and then using that to drive an event in SAP. Again, just focusing on that particular aspect here. And the demonstration I'm going to show you today is really focusing on a water-based asset, so water network, water pipeline, harnessing the information coming from pressure and flow rates, looking at an event that triggers a notification in SAP. So this is a really interesting area that we've partnered with a company called Hydroscan to harness the information coming from the water network, like I said, pressure and flow rates, and then address situations where there's a trend towards failure or a burst incident. What you're actually seeing on the screen now is essentially a water network distributed into what's called DMAs, so district metered areas, and that's how we structure the function location in SAP to represent this network. Just quickly looking at the event backlog here. So what you're seeing here is essentially a number of incidents or events on the water network. A number of them are what's called cumulative leaks. So this is where the system's picked up a trend towards failure. We've put some thresholds into the design of this solution that then triggers an event. And you can see there's a number on the right-hand side of these events that have triggered an activity in SAP and driven a workflow through business technology platform. So from a technical point of view, we have on one side of the equation the operational information and the event log. We have BTP as the integration technology we're using, driving an API that specifically creates a notification in SAP. I'm going to focus on this particular one at the bottom, which is a cumulative leak against what's called Zone 4. Zone 4 is one part of the water network, and it's driven an event at this date range, so 2024. We'll follow this through the process. So I'm just going to go to SAP. So I'm now in SAP, our demonstration system. So it's part of what we call our fast EAM capability, and it's a template we've built out that allows us to deploy into the customer base, or indeed support demos as I'm doing now, around the Enterprise Asset Management Lifecycle. And again, in this case, we've built it around a water network. If I just go in as the maintenance execution function and look at the activities there. So I'm going to look at the maintenance order backlog. As you can see, what I'm highlighting here is there's a notification created in SAP, and it harnesses the information from the event. So in this case, you can see it's a cumulative leak. You can see the date stamp and also the measure that drove the breach. We've also created a maintenance order against this particular notification, and that's the object we'll track through the process. So just to kind of reiterate the stage we're at, so we have a notification. We've driven that to create an order, and we're using the order to plan into the next phase, which is the mobile asset management. So just to pick this up in the process, we've created a notification that's come from field operations. We've converted that into a maintenance order, and we're now at the stage where we want to schedule and dispatch the work to field operations. So from an SAP point of view, The tool we're using here is SAP Field Service Management, and particularly the Schedule and Dispatch board. So just looking at this view that we've got on the screen now, there's a couple of things just to highlight. On the lower half of the screen, we have the backlog. So as you can see, we've got the cumulative leak that has been created as a response to the notification and the call from the event. In the top half of the screen, we have the resources that you're looking to deploy the work to. In this case, I've just set myself up as a field technician. There's a couple of ways we can actually schedule this work. One of the ways is to manually execute the work by just dragging and dropping to the top half of the screen and allocate the work. The other way we can do this is through semi-automated capability by dragging the work across to the scheduling board here on the right-hand side. There's one other way which SAP now has within FSM, and that's using AI capability. The system we've got deployed here doesn't have that actually available to us in the moment, but increasingly there's an opportunity within FSM to optimize the scheduling approach using intelligent scheduling capabilities. All I'm going to do here is actually drag and drop it and deploy that to the field operations. So you can see that's now allocated the work to me. If I select that, and then release the assignment. So when I release the assignment, that will deploy the work to the mobile device. That's now committed. So when I log into my device, I'll be able to access that work and execute the work as planned. Okay, so just to kind of connect with the previous steps and summarize, we've planned the work, we've scheduled the work, and we've dispatched the work to mobile field operations. I'm now logged on as the field technician using Service and Asset Manager, and I'll just explain a couple of features here. So just looking at this particular setup, you can see I'm logged on as the maintenance technician. That deploys a number of functions and features that relate to that type of role. There's different persona available depending upon the role you're looking after. Again, just looking at the backlog now, so if I look at my notifications, you can see I've got the cumulative leak appeared on my backlog and the notification associated with that. And I can drill into any of these objects. Just another feature which is probably worth highlighting, and we'll pick this up in a different session, is the integration to GIS. So you can see that it's actually highlighted some of the zone content and the work associated with the assets, but from a geospatial point of view. That's because we've enabled Geo Enablement Framework, and that visual view appears on the mobile device as well. So you can interact with the asset and the work through the map view as well. But in this case, we'll just interact through the backlog. Again, I'll go in and select this notification in the associated order. So that's notification, and again, all these features I can drill into, I can add other information. All of this is controlled by authorization, so depending upon the roles and responsibilities you have within your field operations, we can adapt how this works. Again, just looking at the work order, the cumulative leak, and that particular order, just drilling into it, I can actually start the work now. So at the moment, it's ready, it's received, and I'm ready to execute the work. I can perform some other functions and features here as well. If I go on site and I'm about to start the work, but I notice there's another problem, then I can raise a net new notification to identify that something else needs done. In this case, what I'm actually going to do is just progress the order. So start the order. I'm now in a position to operate some work and progress work. At this stage, I can go in and confirm. So actually, I've executed the work, I've performed the operation, and I want to book my time. Other features that you can perform here is around notes. So you can see that it's logged all of the information over the last whatever period and actions that have been performed against the order in the back-end system, as well as anything that I'm going to do in the field. So I can go in and create new notes that I want to put onto the history of the work. And that will log that, timestamp that. Other activities, I'm on site and I can see that there's a situation maybe with the surrounding area that I want to take a picture of, or I want to take a picture of the asset and its condition and put that on the record. So I can go in and add a document. In this case, I want to use photographs. So the mobile application has access to all of the features that the device has. In this case, I'm using an iPhone. iOS, but you can source photo libraries or you can source documents. In this case, I'll use the photograph. We'll take a picture and use that photograph. It's applied. So that's now logged against the maintenance order as I'm completing the work because it's valuable information. Again, in this case, it's probably the condition of the asset I want to capture. Give it a title. Test Plutos, why not? And you can see that's now logged against the operation. I'm going to complete the job now. Put some time in. So time's 9:42. I'm just going to take the 15 minutes default. So it knows when I started the job because I hit start, and then it'll log the elapsed time. I can override that. I may have taken a break or done some other activities in the meantime. So I want to log the time differently than the system's default to. I'll just put in some information. And then log this work is done. Okay, so that's now the work complete, status is updated, and the work is finished. I can then go back to the home page and then progress the rest of the work as necessary. But the point is going back to the summarization of what we're trying to achieve here. From a field operation, field trigger, field event, we had notification and a call. That was converted into a maintenance order. We planned and scheduled that maintenance order, used the dispatching board to dispatch to the field. I've then executed the work in the mobile device and updated it with all of the relevant information to support quality data. Going back to the point I kind of highlighted at the start, at no point have I had a break in the process from the start of the event through to the completion of the work, and the quality of data has been sustained throughout, which is the objective we're trying to achieve here. So just to summarize what I've run through from a demonstration point of view, and I'll go back to this process. We've leveraged the information coming from the Hydroware software. So that's again the event, the anomaly, the trigger coming from the field based on pressure and temperature deviations. That's driven an action through business technology platform, leveraging the notification API, and generated a notification in SAP. We've then taken that notification, created a maintenance order, planned the maintenance order, and then used that maintenance order in the planning exercise, scheduled it, and dispatched it through SAP Field Service Management. Then lastly, we've accessed that maintenance order that's been dispatched to the field technician, in this case myself, and then reviewed that, released that, executed that maintenance order, updated it with information, notes, photographs, any documentation, and then completed the work and booked our time against that. So from a continuity point of view, from the initial event through the work management lifecycle in SAP S4 through to the service and asset manager execution of that work, we've had a continuity of data and process with no breakage. At all points, high quality information is maintained. So going back to the sorts of challenges we're trying to address from a business point of view, is that quality of data to support decision support later on in the asset review, performance review of the assets. So just to summarize that, the SAP solution, which I demoed today, supports the life cycle of work management from the event through to the completion of the work, maintaining the integrity of data throughout. Thanks very much for listening. Any questions, please reach out to myself, and I'll happily have a conversation around any topic on this area.